What shall we then say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us?
SPEAKROC, that's the team that I'm with. SPEAKROC, don't it make a lot of sense? SPEAKROC, yeah, we speak to each other. Hey, young man, be a brother to another, Put the other things aside, throw away the fakeness. All my brothers got the key to achieve greatness. Let nobody bring you down when you tryna reach the top. Let them know what you represent, tell them SPEAKROC. Let's make a change for the best. Let your voice be heard, let your words be expressed. Brothers and sisters, set a goal to the top. If anybody got your back, let them know it's SPEAKROC.
Hey, yo, Guap, that was dope. Hey, just gotta keep telling them what it is out here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you already know, man.
Hey, we doing this one for the D. What up, though?
What up, though?
Hey, yo, what up, though? What up, though? What up, though, brothers and sisters? This is your brother, SPEAKROC. Hey, we are in the place, and I'm ecstatic as always. Today is a special day, man. Today is a special day, and we're gonna get into that and tell you why it's a special day. But first, before I get into it, I gotta bring to you my man, my brother, the extraordinary teacher, E.T., Mr. Eric Thompson. What up, though, sir?
What up, though? What's going on, sir? What's going on, man? This is you, right? It's a special day. Matter of fact, I believe every day is a special day, man, that the Lord has graced us to see the dawning of a brand new day. That means He still have work for you and I to do. So if you can hear my voice, then you've been blessed by the Lord, because you got an assignment on your life that He wants to fulfill it. And you can't leave until you do it. Amen.
Amen. You're 100% correct, man. And I love the way that you put that, because, you know, when you talk about assignments, you and I was talking off the air just a minute ago, and, you know, I want to bring the SPEAKROC family in on this, bruh. Today, well, not today, not this day, but this month, you know, marks the 2-year anniversary of SPEAKROC and Be a Brother, Speak to Another. And when you talk about assignments and when you talk about fulfilling your purpose, you know, that's exactly what it is for SPEAKROC. You know, I was in the position in which, you know, God gave me a vision, and He gave me understanding on, you know, what it is that I was to pursue. And I'm so happy about that, man. I'm thoroughly ecstatic. It doesn't seem like the time has gone by that far, but I believe when you're doing a great work in the Lord, you know, time, you know, time doesn't add up or line up, you know, for man. You know, we don't see it the way God sees it. And not only that, let me say this. I know it's next month, but I'm excited. I got to talk about it. Next month, January 2019, will be a year that my brother E.T. and I have been together doing the SPEAKROC podcast. And Eric, I just want to, you know, first of all, let me say this. Hey, thank you all for joining us. You know, I'm pretty pumped up right now. And thank you all for taking your time and being with my brother E.T. and I. And, you know, we appreciate sharing, you know, what we have with you all. And with that being said, Eric, you know, once again, next month, January 2019, will be a year, brother. And we have done some, man, I've said it like this before, because I listen to a number of other podcasts. Bruh, what God has given us and what we're doing here is truly unique, man. I don't hear a broadcast like this. And I could probably be biased, probably so, but I'm just confident in what the Lord is doing. And, you know, Eric, just share with us real quick, man, before we get to our topic of the day. You know, talk to us, man. Tell us how you feel, and, you know, give us, you know, what you think about what we've been doing for pretty much a year now.
Man, it's well, first off, where did the year go? I mean, I can recall us having a conversation and you putting pad to pencil about what you want to do, and asking me to commit to prayer, and it it just resonated with my spirit. This is an assignment not only for you but for me, and you really are not totally satisfied no matter what your walk of life is or no matter what you're doing. Total satisfaction comes when you really doing the will of the Father. And once you in that the will of the Father and you recognize you're doing what He's called you to do, that's where that joy comes into your house. That's where that joy comes into your life. That's where things can't pull on you and bother you. We recognize that things come, the enemy comes to try to kill, steal, and destroy. But when you know you're walking in the purpose and the will of God, then those things won't overtake you. And I just truly believe, man, with this this thing went from like just SpeakRoc to SpeakRoc audience, SpeakRoc congregation, SpeakRoc community to like SpeakRoc nation, man. And because now we're speaking to nations, because I truly believe that this platform is enriching the lives of so many people and so many and it's having an influence on other movements, and that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to say that we have it all, but what we're trying to do is multiply and duplicate ourselves into other people, so people can see the love of Christ that we have in our lives. And I truly believe that this is a God-centered movement where we take our names and our titles and place them down at the foot of the cross and let God be lifted up. And I truly believe he's been elevated because of it.
Absolutely, man. You know, now I gotta add this as well. I'm so excited, man. I'm just stuttering all over my words. It is truly marvelous in God's eyes, man. And what I mean by that is this. And you and I, we've had that conversation, but we're just gonna share our conversations, with our family. Because I remember coming to you and I said, Eric, I said, brother, I'm not like everybody else, man. And what I meant by that was I was talking about far as a lot of our contemporaries, if you will, be it, ministers of the gospel, certain brothers and sisters in Christ. And, because I still, to be honest, I still had a level of concern about how I was going to deliver, my message in the manner and the style in which I do it. And you said to me calmly and with confidence, you was like, well, you're not supposed to be like everybody else. And those words alone was like, just the extra comfort that I needed to say, you go ahead and do what God has told you to do, man. You do it in the manner in which let it bring glory to God and go forward. Understand that if you get out of pocket or if you get beside yourself or whatever the case may be, you're in God's hands. He'll will you in. Like, you didn't say all of that, but that's what I took from it. And because of that, the Bible talks about where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's liberty. And, I believe that I was operating, or I believe that I'm operating along with you in that liberty. Because one of the first things that I've always said, even from the very beginning, and we repeated on our broadcast, is that we want to be able to give spiritual and practical advice to life's everyday issues. And I wholeheartedly believe that. I never said I wanted to just say, you know what, we're just going to constantly always just word on top of word, and we're going to just bam, nothing but spiritual wisdom and principles. But I've always said, I knew God made me believe that my life experiences coupled with your life experiences, there's practical principles that we have as well, because our audience is a diverse audience. And I've known, I'm telling you, I got people of the faith who listen to us and people who are not of the faith who listen. And because of that, I believe we're well-rounded, sensitive in the spirit to be able to deliver the wisdom, the godly wisdom that God gives us, and to be able to tailor our practical advice to be able to give to the people. And I'm going to end it like this, and I want you to jump back in there, because how many times have we sat there and said, hey, look, we teaching milk right now. We're sharing milk right now. And then next thing you know, we need to upgrade and we chopping up some meat and we giving it to the people. This, man, to me, this is what it's always been about that to me. How do we reach the masses and the people? And I'm going to say this one last thing, and I'm going to turn it over. And the more and more I think about it now, for you and I, this ain't nothing new. Because you and I, we've been on the mission field. We've been on the streets of the city. And we've shared with people. And God has gifted us with a certain amount of grace to be able to, an anointing, if I must dare say, to be able to reach people in the way that He has for us to do. And I'm so thankful to Him for that, man. And I wouldn't change a thing, brother. I'm done, man, because I can keep going, bro.
Hey, man, I mean, and you shouldn't change a thing, because I believe this is the Lord's doing, and it's marvelous in His eyes. See, and the thing about it is, it's not only spiritual, not only practical. We're not only telling you about our success story. We're also sharing some things that we failed at, some things we had to learn, some lessons, some hard lessons for. When we were, not necessarily following the ways of the Lord, but we had to learn some hard lessons on that. And we believe in all of that. You talked about your experiences in all of that. Right now, we can give God glory, and now we can tell the story that if it had not been for God, we wouldn't even know where we are right now. And that's what it's all about. We're just sharing our experiences, sharing our relationship with the Lord, sharing the Word of God, sharing our experiences, work experience, family experience, life experience. And I believe when you have that genuine love for people, like, you can't make me not love you. That's the thing about it. I'm talking to anybody. No matter what you do to me, you can't make me not love you. I mean, I might not love what you do. I might not love, matter of fact, your ways or whatever, or your disdain for my God, but that don't mean I don't love you. Because when we were unlovable, God loved us. So that's what we do. That's why we're here. It's funny. We're not here just, before we came on the air, I always, to try to soak in the presence of God, so God can use me or use us in a way that can bring Him glory, that bring people closer to Him, or come closer to that family, or closer to that healing, or closer to that deliverance. It's that thing that I believe that God has placed on the inside of both of us, that we want to connect with people, so people's lives can be enriched.
Come on, man. You just got me up here. I'm just spinning right now, man. I'm just overflowing with like that energy that you giving out, because when you think about Jesus, man, as far as I'm concerned, the ultimate, mentor, the ultimate teacher, the ultimate example, Jesus, man, he mixed it up and he chopped it up with the people. He chopped it up with them like he was in the mix. He wasn't like on the outside kind of saying, hey, y'all, I love y'all. Live a nice life, learn this from me and do good. No, Jesus was literally in the mix of the people, like side by side, woman at the well, sitting down, eating with the tax collector type, chopping it up. That kind of thing. So much to the point where the Bible even gives an account that he was with his, however you want to put it, his disciples, his boys, his friends, and they're sitting there talking about the glory of God and the things that they saw. And Jesus like, hey, I saw Satan fall from the sky. Like, they having a good time glorifying God. Just they sharing, breaking bread. That's ministry. And you hit the nail on the head. Look, I might not like everything you do. We ain't gonna chop it up and do what you do, but bruh, sis, I love you. And guess what? I'm here for you. I'm not removed. I'm just sanctified. I'm just righteous. And I'm not coming up off that. But guess what? Rock is rock. E is E. We here. And we're trying to live our best life in a manner that is pleasing unto God. And yeah, we stumble, we have issues, we fall, but we know where our strength comes from. No matter what we go, man. All right, yeah, I'm about to get into some preaching stuff.
No, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff. It's that passion for people. It's why this movement is so progressive. Why this movement is so on point. Why this movement is so timely. It's the passion for people.
Now, E,
and
let me ask you
us.
this: Do we try to steer away from certain conversations in certain issues
Not at
in
all.
life?
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. Bring them. Bring them on. Bring every conversation on.
And if you can remember, Eric, I was saying, like, man, I said, dude, there's a lot that people go through in life, and I believe there's spiritual principle that goes along with all these worldly issues. Like, I don't care what it is. If it's dealing with politics, the presidents that we don't care for too much, if it's dealing with relationships with people, marriage, work relationships, as it pertains to issues of race. Dude, through this year, we've covered a lot of that. Hey, bro,
Man,
you still there? Oh,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. While you was talking, I'm just kind of thinking of some of those topics, man. Man, put it this way, we got something for everybody.
Yeah.
Whatever you're feeling, whatever you're going through, whatever you agree with, whatever you disagree with, whatever you believe, whatever you don't believe, I believe we have spoke on it and given some wisdom on it, and to believe that can at least enlighten you to ponder. They hit some stuff. They said some stuff that I was thinking.
Thank you.
But yeah, and that's what we want you to do. Get you to thinking, get your juices flowing. Say, hey, well, my grandma, almost always told me to cook the meat in this pot, that kind of thing, But they didn't recognize the grandma only had one pot.
Right.
Man, you follow what I'm saying?
Right.
So this is what we try. We're trying to expand your capacity to receive godly wisdom and godly understanding.
And watch this. One of my other prayers have always been is that people can say, I want people to actually admit to themselves and say, man, cause I'm the kind of guy, I actually say phooey on what's my man name? Gandhi. Gandhi had a statement, a quote, and sometimes people use it. He had a quote talking about something like, your Jesus, I love. Like, I can get down with your Jesus. But the people? Yeah, I got a problem with the people. I looked at that statement and was like, man, fool you on that, man. And the reason why I said fool you on it, because number one, Jesus is all about the people.
Absolutely.
All about the people. So if you got a problem with the people, by all accounts, you got a problem with Jesus. So my thing is this. And I know, man, look, as they would say, the colloquialism you know, as people in the urban neighborhoods of today, we in these streets. I talk to people. I'm around people. I understand. I understand the hardships that people have with Christians, followers of Christ, with the church. I hear it all. I've heard it all. You know, between the latest one, you got the pastor that's on the harness and he flying through the sky, coming through the congregation. People got a problem with that. But see, here's the deal. I always said, I always believe that people can say, you know what? Yeah, I ain't a sold out Christian. I ain't blood brought, you know. But these two brothers, I'm feeling what they talking about. And I'm feeling it so much that it goes back to what you said, E. That it reminds me of what my grandma was talking about. And it's all being pieced together for them. And because of that, we're being true and we're being honest and we're being sincere. They can see God. You see what I mean? Like, so whatever it is that they got a problem with that the church did to them, or some pastor or deacon freaking slick back and, you know, the 100 women in white or whatever, whoever did something to you or got you upset at the church, when you ran into us, and then when they listen to our podcast, they actually listen and say, man, these dudes just sold out. But something different. Something different about these cats. They sold out for God, but something is different. And I wanted that difference to be the thing that continues to pull them in so they can get to know the love of God. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to end it with this. I believe in that difference. I believe in God doing a new thing. I truly do, Eric. I truly, and I don't want to sound cliche-ish when I say that, because in the church community, we, you know, that's a word that we use a lot. Sometimes, whatever. You know, God's doing a new thing. You know, I get it. I don't want it just to be cliche. I want it to be. I want that to resonate with people, and the reason why I wanted to resonate, we just not talking about God doing a new thing in just Brother E and Brother Rock. That's even a new thing in our family, in the listening audience. Like, y'all got to understand this. If y'all listening to us, this just isn't a us thing. It's all of us. And God is going to do a new thing in you as well. Eric, please go ahead and say something else, because I'm about to stop preaching real quick.
Go ahead and preach on, because I mean that's what it is. See, the interesting thing, we tend to want to put our mouth on a lot of things that we don't understand. Ooh. You know, and there's a scripture in the Bible that you know, in Job, it said that, and I'm gonna paraphrase it because it's a very powerful scripture, but I always misquote it.
Let me see if I can look it up. Go ahead.
But it says that Job turned to God and said something like, I uttered something too wonderful for me to understand. You know, I said some things out of my mouth that I was so, it's so underneath or below of what God thinks. It's so insignificant in the big picture of God. Mm. And that's what we do. You know, you talked about the guy flying into the sanctuary or whatever. This is I could have one God thinker, right? Mm-hmm. And so how God sees a thing, instead of criticizing and ostracizing whatever this was. Could they? I'm just asking. Could they just say, if this brings one soul in, I know I'm out there. If this one thing that he did bring one soul into the kingdom than him flying across the auditorium was worth it. You hear what I'm saying? Why can't we go there? Why can't we go there? Why can't we be the mature Christian that say, if this one thing, man, if that one thing put the light on for somebody to see Jesus, because the truth of the matter is Jesus is gonna come and crack the sky, and he's gonna be on the riding on the cloud. But just preaching that, maybe not showing that, they might can't make the connection. But how about praying that this was a God, this was a godly instruction. He was giving godly instructions to do this very thing because God knew who was sitting in the seat. And see, I can't get two Christians to see something God because why you saying God is doing a new thing? That could be it.
Wow.
I don't know. We don't, because God's ways are not our ways.
Mm-hmm.
See, what we miss it is when we try to think that we are so arrived that God can't use a fish anymore. That God can't use a donkey anymore. That God can't use manna from heaven anymore. Those were the curious things that shook up the foundations of what the church thought how church should be, or how you should be blessed, or how you can get delivered. See, you want your deliverance how you want your deliverance.
Come on, E. This ain't
you want your prosperity how you want your prosperity.
This ain't First Burger King Baptist.
Man, no, you can't have it your way.
Come on, E.
God got to get, because look, the truth of the matter is, God's got to send some sold out dudes that went to the club and backed it up for years to go out in front of the club and say that ain't the way.
Wow.
God got to send some people that's been in the prison to go back to the prison and say, I've been where you've been, I've sat where you sat. That ain't the way.
But let me add to that. Eric. Here's what's funny to me, and I'm not picking on my brothers and sisters. I'm not, but just to add to the point, because I want them to really get a revelation. So, like most churches, most modern churches, okay, most churches that are bringing in, a certain, that have been blessed to modernize their church. Most of them probably got foldable chairs, where they can use their main sanctuary as a multi complex, if you will. You can fold up all the chairs and put them away, and now you got this big open space. You can use that as a banquet hall or whatever you want to do. Or some might have padded pews. They're angled, and the design of it might spell out a word or something. Oh, who knows? They're comfortable padded pews, and you name it. I'm just giving that as an example. So just to talk about a new thing, how things are new now, how things evolve. So, in relationship to, I believe it was a pastor who decided to get into a harness and come down out of the sky. All I'm saying is something new. So if people got a problem with that, and they got a problem with how large a church is, like I've heard that too. The church is just too large. Can't deal with it. I'm like, oh my God. So, but now let's go back. Let's go back to the wooden floors that creaked. Let's go back to the wooden pews that didn't have no padding and they was just hard. Okay? Let's go back to the church that had a one air condition that was in the window, and it had to cool off the whole church. And maybe it was broken. Then we had all these funeral fans. Let's go back to those days. People still had a problem with that church. So my point is, does it matter? If it's something's old or something's new, you still want to complain about church either way. You just want to still complain about Christians. So maybe the problem isn't what the church or what the pastor is doing. maybe the problem is with you.
Wow. No, not that person in the mirror.
I'm just saying, brother. I'm like, what? How is church supposed to be formulated for you to be like, oh, got it. I'm rocking with church now. Because they doing exactly what I wanted to do. Y'all got one guitar too many. Y'all gonna tell me y'all got a tambourine in y'all orchestra? Can't do it. Can't do it. I'm like, are we serious? That's what we doing now. So we're critiquing things. It's like you're finding a reason not to be involved with God. And that's just what.
Oh, wow.
We just finding reasons.
Wow.
Because not too long ago, you was at a concert where a dude was playing a guitar and he was acting like he was ejaculating and he was spraying some kind of liquid on you. But you was okay with that. I'm sorry, Eric. I got to get this graphic and I got to make it plain. Because you cannot have it both ways. We're not here on Speak Rock, You cannot sit here and participate in one activity and you act like that's, hey, it is what it is. That's entertainment. That's da-da-da-da-da. But if the moment the church do something, that one thing, the pastor coming out of the Raptors on a harness, that's that one thing that messes all the church up. That's and you'll say, that's the reason why I don't go to church. But you was just at a concert.
That's it.
You was just at a concert with a woman who was scantily clad, pretty much butt naked, and you thought that was okay, and you spent from the time the concert opened to the time the concert closed, and you entertained that. But you didn't say, nah, that's the reason why I don't go to hip hop concerts. Come on, man, stop it. Y'all just got set free today. Thank God. We not gonna do this.
I pray to God somebody got set free because that judgmental. See, we always talk about judging, but then you judging. You're judging the church. You're judging the pastor. We always talk about always throw the judging card in there. Whatever. But the key is whatever you don't like about the church, why don't you go to the church and help it? Help it out. Whatever it is, it got too many cars in the parking lot, but can't get a parking space. Won't you go help out on the parking ministry? What, your bathrooms ain't clean. Why don't you join the maintenance ministry and help assist the bathroom being clean? That's scripture to talk about. I'd rather be a doorkeeper than to dwell in the tents of wicked men or wickedness and all of that in the house of God. I'd rather be a doorkeeper on the house of God.
My God.
Man, we tend to want to give excuses on why the church is not what it should be or why. And I'm gonna tell you what can make a church grow real fast ungodly is to preach on that thing. Preach on what the church should be doing, or talk about other churches. Or you'll grow a church, or talk about money, or talk against churches who are quote unquote supposed to be prosperous churches. Or your church will grow, because then you get those same negative people who was talking about you first until you decided to cow down to them, which Jesus never cowed down to anybody. He was empathetic. He was sensitive. But one time he told, what y'all come out here to see? Man in fine clothing and all of that? Or he call you brood or viper. That kind of stuff like that. So Jesus ain't never cowed down just because your opinion of him was tainted. The issue is you're going to find flaw with anything because you're not happy with yourself. And like I mentioned before, the true happiness comes in when you're doing the will of God for your life. That's when true happiness comes in. That's when you can see the best and not the worst in everything.
Now, Eric,
have you ever thought about why only negative things come out of your mouth?
Wow.
Because you're unhappy. And then you think about, well, why aren't you unhappy? It's because you lack of joy. Then why you have lack of joy? Because the Bible said the joy of the Lord is my strength.
Mm.
So if you are always negative and you're always a Debbie Downer and you can't see nothing positive about the church, that nothing that church over there is doing well. I don't care if they got the broken pew or they got 10,000 members. You can't see nothing good in that. Okay, they bought the pastor a car, but did they buy it? But they done bought 10 cars for the members. Why are you going to hop on that one thing that you don't like, but miss all the wonderful things the church has done? See, we're just like that scripture in the Bible that talks about before you tend to want to remove something out of somebody else's eye, before you want to fix that church, fix that pastor from flying in or flying in his personal jet, why don't you get that speck out of your eye? Or he said, not even a speck, he said it was a boulder. So you can see clearly what you're judging about. I go back to that scripture in Job. He said, look, I done put my mouth on something too wonderful that I know God was doing. Man, I want to leave with this. Listen. Have you ever been so adamant about something, so dogmatic about something, so in your face, you done talk the person down about it. You done got indignant about it, swore about it, sweated about it, cussed about it. Was put money on it. And was wrong.
He said put money on it.
Put money on it.
They
put
something on it.
Say though, don't miss the point. Don't miss the point. But was wrong.
Ooh.
But was wrong.
Come on, man.
You were dead wrong. This is how you got to look at those situations that you're judging, that you're being judgmental about. His ways are not our ways. Man, God has delivered me from some stuff, but the issue is he didn't deliver me from the stuff like I wanted him to do it. He didn't come at the time that I needed him to, or wanted him to do it. But he got it done anyway. He got it done without my help. See, this is what we are. We're too busy trying to help God out in things you don't even know anything about.
Wow.
Whoa.
Now, let me. Can we expand that conversation?
We got to.
Can we expand that to the workplace? Because think about it. You being a 30-year veteran of where you work, I'm sure you did what we're talking about. I'm sure you've seen that even play out in your workplace, right or wrong.
Absolutely, Dale. Let me explain it to you this way. I have a certain level of expertise in the job that I have,
mm-hmm.
but my clients that I deal with think they know more about the job that I have the expertise, the training, the experience in, and want to tell me how to do my job.
Well,
see, if that didn't go full circle, if that didn't go full, because their needs or what they think should be done, because they're only thinking of themselves. They want to create my job criteria, my job specifications, the protocols for my job to fit them. This is what we do with the church. This is what we do in families. This is what we do in communities, in the political arena, and all of those things. We want to have stuff to fit us, and not the masses of people. This is when you have a change, you have a mindset, you have a paradigm shift in your thinking, because now oh, I get it. I get it now, because it was for a global perspective and not just your personal needs.
Mm.
I've seen how God had worked some stuff out where he came specifically how to show himself strong in my life. He did some specific to what I may have been asking for or believing for, just to show who he is. But in other times, he did some totally opposite of what I was thinking or what I was believing or what I was hoping for. But at the end of the day, the name of the game is results. The name of the game. If that dude flew in, and I got to keep coming back, if he flew and that altar was packed, the name of the game is results. How many times? But you want some man to sweat up there and say he all right, ain't he all right, ain't he all right? And the church ain't grown from 13 to 15 in 25 years. But you think you had church because he told you turn to 242 in your hymnal, and y'all start singing "Blessed Assurance, Jesus is mine." Oh, what a foretaste of glory divine. And nobody came to the altar. And the deacons in the back still drinking liquor. And the deacons, when you come on the parking lot, they still smoking cigarettes. But you think you had church. Because Sister So-and-so got up there and read about the sick and shut-in list. Maybe because y'all haven't had a paradigm shift, you wouldn't have such a long sick and shut-in list. We'd be talking about the manifestation of God in healing, that he sent his word and healed them. You wouldn't have such a broke congregation because he said, above all, I wish you be in good health, even as your soul prosper. And you wouldn't be in the same situation you're in now, judgmental and talking about these large churches or talking about these smaller churches, because you are a small thinker, because you haven't grown in your walk with the Lord, because you're too busy being judge and jury over every church just because you saw it on Facebook. Just because he's a well-known preacher. I saw some foolishness about, and I don't know it's foolish. I shouldn't say it's foolish. But what I said, well, when you talk about a certain thing, like I'm gonna put it out there. I see some posts with John Gray. He's like the big name guy, Pastor John Gray.
Right.
Now he done struck a chord, because he done talk about churches. All we talk about is giving to the pastor, giving to the pastor. But what about the people? See, that's just on the emotional thing that I'm trying to get my people moved in that.
Okay, hold on. Let me ask, okay, so just to be clear, so John Gray, he commented on people commenting on giving to the pastor?
Well, no, he's preaching a sermon about, he's preaching a sermon about we too busy pastors, too busy at talking about giving to us, sowing into us, that we forgetting about the people in the congregation. So his thing is hold on to your offering, right?
Okay. Hold
on to your offering until you connect to what I say, right? How many? Let's see. This is just to me. This is just a spiritual manipulation. Okay. How many of the pastors will keep the basket out there and tell the people to pull from the basket?
So he said this not too long ago.
Yeah. I just saw it on Facebook today.
And
so,
social media people, us are reacting. That's what we're seeing. Or is he getting
Absolutely.
Or is he getting backlash from the clergy community?
Well, I don't know if it's clergy. I can't say if it's clergy. I can't say who they are, but he's getting a lot of amen. Because any negative gospel against the gospel gets the crowd.
Hold on, brother. Hold up. Isn't this the same brother? Hold on.
Say it again.
Hold on. Isn't this the same brother, Pastor John Gray? And I ain't talking about dude. We having conversation here. So I want the listening audience to understand something. I am not. You ain't never heard me on this podcast jump on any person. I don't do that. I don't beat up on people. But I will bring conversation to the table. I'm not afraid of having conversation about anybody. If you put it out there in the atmosphere and people can learn from it, I'm going to talk about it. But one thing I'm not going to do, I'm not going to bash no individual. So let's make that clear. Right. So what I'm saying about Mr. Pastor Gray, this is the same individual who took heat for meeting with our current president, Donald Trump. So all I'm saying is, look, you can do what you want to do. I always tell anybody, you can do what you want to do in life. But, I mean, I'm just saying, so you meet with Donald Trump, and then everybody was coming after your neck. Everybody. Clergy, your contemporaries was coming after your neck. People in the social media universe was coming after your neck. Now you throw out something else, and now you're getting applause from the same people who was coming after your neck. Because that's what's happening.
Let me tell you why. I'm trying to make this thing full circle.
Make it full circle, yeah.
Because, the people that we were ministering to, we're not talking about. We're ministering. We're trying to encourage. We're trying to help those naysayers.
Right.
That come against everything that the church is doing or not doing, or not doing to their liking, or not building like they should build, or saying what they should say, or that them. He got them now.
Ooh.
He got them, because when you preach a negative gospel against the gospel, see, I had to say that again because I don't know if you caught that the first time I said it. Because when you preach a negative gospel against the gospel, then you get your naysayer, and you get a bunch of them.
Eric, can I say it like this? Can I say it like this? Because I'm not trying to correct you, but because it's kind of an oxymoron a little bit. And what I mean by that,
it is
because by all account, there is, for example purposes, a negative gospel. You're right. But it's an oxymoron because there's no such thing as a negative gospel. Because the
gospel is the good news.
The gospel is the good news. You can't preach negative good news. So with that being said, for example purposes, it works. But I just want the listening audience to understand, you cannot ever preach a gospel, the gospel of Jesus Christ, the gospel of God, the good news of God himself, and it ever be, for instance, the disciples came to Jesus one time and they was like, hey, Jesus, those people over there are, preaching in your name. They not with us. And Jesus was like, leave them people be. Leave them be. Let them do their thing. And you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, Jesus is saying like, look, it's going to work. It's going to work. Regardless if they running with me or not. The whole purpose for me coming was to influence others and get them to see the glory of God. So they ain't gotta be with us. Lead them people be. And if it ain't fruitful, it ain't gonna grow. It'll work itself out. So I think that's applicable to Pastor Gray. Look, if he throwing something out there and it ain't the gospel, it ain't gonna flourish anyway, no matter what his status is.
Yeah. I guess what I'm saying is he's catering to those who who have that negative attitude toward how people do church.
Right.
That you see what I'm saying? That's what he's
Right.
doing. He's catering to that, and he's starting it out because with because here, and so one of the guys said, I read one of the posts. He said, well, that's easy for him to say. He got 6,000 members, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and so it ain't like they hurting anyway. So nevertheless, he because you gonna get 1,000 amens to that one, because
That's what people want. It's First Baptist Burger
because
King.
that because they want to see, they want to find a way that
Say it.
to make it. Go ahead. What you say?
No, say it.
Yeah, they want to find a way to discredit why the church is blessed, but it appears to be that the people are not blessed. But see, what I'm gonna have a problem with that. Can I tell you why I'm gonna have a problem with that?
Talk to me.
Because the church can't be blessed unless the people are blessed. Now, let me explain that to you, because the church in itself is not receiving from the church from itself.
Mm-hmm.
The church in itself is receiving from the people from the church that's in the church that make the church that way. Right? You get that, right?
Right.
So then we put it on an individual basis and say, well, the church has this, but my individual life don't have this, right?
Right.
But the truth of the matter is, it ain't just because you don't have this. There's a couple of things that could be a reason why you don't have this. All right. It's not because you just a member of that church. Oh my goodness. Did I say that? Because can let me help you with that. Because your neighbor who don't go to church can have some stuff that church members don't have, and why is that you don't have it? Are you saying that the church is taking away from you so you can't have what you're supposed to have? Now, if you can prove that out, then the church is your issue. Man, I know that was too deep. I'm going to have to... then the church is your issue. Really. Because the church is stealing from you the reason you don't have.
Wow.
Now, did you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Because if you broke and you work a job, is the job stealing from you? Because,
so my job the problem. You're right.
you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I get what you're saying, that the church appears to be prosperous, but the church is a conglomerate of a group of a collection of a bunch of people giving unto the church.
Let me throw this in here, man, because you've said a lot of things that have really that you said a lot of things that are applicable to really what our topic was about today, but we never really got into it. And I can't let this segment go by because we've got almost 55 minutes into our broadcast, and I can't let this segment go by because I love the way this is going. I love our energy. I love the passion. I love the nuggets. This is definitely something that those who are serious in Speak Rock Nation and who really truly believe that God is blessed and giving wisdom, you're going to have to go back and listen to this one, because I believe this is the fastest we've ever talked. I think we're going, but I gotta bring this as you said earlier, full circle, and this is gonna tie this all together. First of all, let me say this to be able to give some words of wisdom to help, and this is from, where Brother Rock sits. I've had a situation where I've been, at a church. I've been part of a church, and I'm always part of the church, regardless if I go to, whatever, First Baptist or not, or New Mount Zion. Like, don't matter which edifice I go to, I'm part of a church. I'm part of the church of God. I'm part of, Jesus Christ. I am the church along with other brothers and sisters. So let's make sure we always make that clear. Just because you don't go to one building, that don't mean God don't want you no more. Because you don't sit up under Pastor Flip Flop and, whatever. So we got to stop that. With that being said, I've been part of a church, and the church participated in what I call pagan holidays that I don't participate in. I don't participate in Halloween. I don't participate in the Easter with a Easter bunny. I don't participate in Christmas with Santa Claus running around. You got a deacon dressed up like Santa. And Eric, that's why I when I make a lot of social media posts, I talk about having some, being a man of high character, a man of principle, a man that can stand on something. Because believe it or not, we face those things in certain churches. May not be your church, may not be the next man's church, but there's churches who still carry certain practices. And now, I've never sat there and said, you know what, that church, going to hell for what they doing. That church, for practicing that, for God, Deacon Pork Chop dressed up like the Easter Bunny. They, ain't nothing, I ain't never hit a with some color purple. Everything you do, I ain't never did that. All I've ever said was, you know what? I can't participate in that. And shortly thereafter, as I see how things are still going, I'm like, you know what? This isn't the place for me. This just isn't the church for me. Doesn't mean that it's not a church for other people. Brother Rock just can't operate here. I can't. Because if I'm in the church and I'm assisting and I'm helping and I'm working with people, I can't be in a place that has these common practices of these pagan holidays. I can't do it. But I don't badmouth the church because that's not where my spirit is. I hope I'm helping somebody with this. See,
man, you are. You really are, because what I say, I came from before I got to the church that I am now. I came through a few other churches, right? But what I call those churches is foundational churches. What to me to get me to the level that I'm on now, right? Because I participate in those same churches and participate in some of those rituals when I didn't know any better, right? When I didn't know any better. But because that church was a foundational church, it got me to a level of understanding in certain things. But what you're saying is, but when you have gotten to a certain level of understanding, you cannot stay in that place because your spiritual integrity or your spiritual growth will get hindered,
yes, sir,
and stifled, and God can't use you on a higher level. But see, what happened is we're not talking about that church because that church has made me has a intricate part of my spiritual growth because I had to start somewhere. Now,
Eric, let me say this. Let me interject because I got to really make it plain. Because I want people to understand, by me being in the military, I've moved around and I've visited and joined a number of churches because of my transition and me relocating. Now, we're not talking, we're not just only talking about, like you alluded to so perfectly, we're just not alluding to the foundational church that you came up in when you was a teenager, when you was a kid, and you started off somewhere, you first got saved. You're talking about a spiritually mature Christian that's been walking in the things of God for a while. And I relocate with me and my family, but then I go to a church and you find out, oh, they participate in this. They believe in what you believe. They believe in the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. They believe in water baptism. They believe in speaking in tongues. Got it. But then they doing some of this other. And it goes back to what you were saying. Now my spiritual integrity is in question. And people always used to tell people like, well, not tell a lot of people, but just who I would be in conversation with. I was like, man, you got to understand. Because people would come to me and be like, all right, dude, why what's up? Why you ain't participating? I mean, really giving me this look like what's wrong? Like what? They acting like my world about to cave in or something. And I'm just looking at them like, wow, y'all act like I've been dealt a blow, like the devil's hand is hovering over me and my world about to cave in. No, I'm perfectly okay. But I'm just letting y'all know, like, I can't participate in that. I understand y'all feel, y'all say, you know what, we're not going to do Halloween. We ain't going to do trick or treat, but we going to do trunk or treat. And I'm still like, nope, I'm not doing that. I'm not, and Eric, I'm telling you, brother, I've had to stand. And I had to sit there and say, while people still looking at me like, oh, like he don't get it. See, these are things I've had to withstand as a mature Christian. I haven't said a word about them, a word about the church. I haven't criticized or judged anybody, but I'm being looked at as, he don't get it. As if I'm the spiritually, immature one. I'm like, wow, okay. But you know what? I still ain't going to participate in trunk or treat. I love you.
We don't do the what is it called? The compromise, the
compromise to the pagan holiday.
We don't do the alternative.
Come on,
man.
We're the
original. We are the originators. We don't do the alternative.
But do you understand what I'm saying though, Eric? Like, can you imagine like you getting this look of like people? I call it the shake my head look. They just looking at you like, shake my head. Poor Rock. He don't get it. Like, like they think you're being the one judgmental.
It's fun. It's just fun.
Yeah, it's just fun. They upset at you. They looking at you crazy because you don't want to run around and look for eggs. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
It's just fun. It's just fun for the kids. We just handing out candy.
That's all we doing.
We just reading Harry Potter books. It's just all fun.
So watch this. Watch this. Now, after these annual pagan holidays, you got to ask yourself, like, man, how long do I still continue to go to this church? How long do I continue to stay here knowing that next April, y'all going to do the same thing again? And y'all ain't listening to me. Y'all listening to your you know what? So decisions have to be made. But the biggest point that I want to get at is this, E. There's a spiritual maturity that I've had to stand on and say, you know what, my family and I, we got to go. Like, this just isn't a church for us. I don't mean nothing bad to, I don't. But you're going to get it. Like, it happens. But at no point did I ever blame the church and say, those people are just bad people. No, they're not bad people. They're God's people, and God love them. And everybody got a certain work to do. Everybody got a certain thing to do and a certain growth, but that don't make them bad people. It don't make them. You see what I mean, E? It doesn't. And I just we got to learn to move on without being judgmental and taking things so. The Bible tells me, and I've learned this a long time ago, guard your heart, man. Guard your heart. If the church is doing that, all right, I can't. Right now, Eric, I'm worked up. I can't.
I mean, the thing about it, I would say they're definitely not bad people. They're definitely not bad people. They're just, I would just say, uninformed or unaware of spiritual things. I say, just kind of spiritual things. I mean, and I would just kind of leave it at that. It's funny. We were sharing. I mean, I go to, I was talking about all different ministries that I go to, and then I'm ended up in the ministry that I am. But I'm in a ministry that by a lot of negative Christians will have a bullseye on the type of ministry that we are. That I will come against all the criticism that negative Christians would want to take shots at. I mean, we're in a mega ministry. We have a blessed pastor and blessed co-pastor, have a private jet. I'm not ashamed to talk about it. We have a private jet. We have our ministry is debt free. We don't owe anything. But let me, this is what they may want to hear and have negative thoughts about or negative reaction. But let me explain. This is how you have to deal with and put it this way, quote unquote. To the naysayer would be considered a prosperity ministry, But let me explain something to you about all of that. But let me just talk about myself when I said I came from those other ministries and all of that. But I want to talk about how, because of this ministry, I had got revelation to be able to write 2 books. Because of the same ministry that people are talking about, I've been on the mission field about 17 straight years in a row. Because of this ministry, I've learned how to get in the presence of God and be able to have a relationship with God by myself. Because of this ministry, I was able to develop my gifts and my abilities and my call on my life to go out into the nightclubs and preach the gospel, to go out to the abortion clinic and share the love of Christ, to go to the nursing home and articulate and witness, to go to the jail and prison, to be able to share God's love with the people God's love. See, we can get caught up in what you think our ministry or the ministry should be doing, but the ministry should be enhancing your ability to commune with God. But see, we are too busy to commune with people and leaving God out of the equation. We're too busy trying to complain to what things are not happening well in our life, because the reason is it's not the ministry, it's not the brick and mortar, it's the relationship with God. Because if you really had a relationship with God, you can see beyond the stuff that's blinding you, and you recognize that in the Lord. This thing is about my walk with God. This is how God use me. I don't have time to say what this church ain't doing, what this person should be doing, what this person should be doing. My responsibility is to share God's love, to enhance the lives of other people. And once we recognize that and say, oh, well, why is he driving that car? What? What difference does that make? The big scheme of things. You're gonna go before God and say, you know what, God, the reason why I didn't do thus and so because Bishop so and so had his personal jet.
Right.
I didn't like it. So I wouldn't tell anybody of your greatness. You know what? The reason why, God, I didn't witness to anybody, or I didn't live right, I didn't live holy, because the church over there had 10,000 members. God, the reason why I couldn't go to the hospital, or because he said this is the time with the separation from the sheep and the goat, right? So I hope you're a sheep and not a goat. But see, God be saying, look, when I was naked, you didn't clothe me. I was in prison, you didn't come see me. I was hungry, you didn't feed me. And your excuse will be, the reason why I didn't do that, God, because that church over there had a man come fly in from the balcony to the pulpit And I know that wants you, God. The reason why I couldn't do those things because God, I had my eyes on people and not on you.
That's good, man.
This is what I'm saying. I say all that. This is what that ministry that people talk about has taught me. Oh, you can talk about how blessed the pastor is. You want to? You can talk about that. Oh, you can talk about how some of the members don't have a lot of money. Some of the members have enough money to pay their light bill. But the pastor lives in talk about it all you want to. But I want you to talk about, when you talk and you witnessing to that, you talk about me. You talk about Elder Thompson. You talk about how he take care of his family because of that ministry. How he loves his community. How he gives up his time. I want, because of that ministry, I need you to witness to whomever you want to witness to or negative about me. And then you give an fair assessment of the ministry. You follow what I'm saying?
Of the church as a whole.
He can love unlovable. He can love unlovable people. He can want to help people that don't want to help themselves. He can want to give up his time with people who don't want his time. You know what I'm saying? And he's attributed that to the ministry that you're talking about. But go ahead.
No, man. That's good because, you know, one of the things I was thinking is that you can sit there and talk about what you don't like, about what's happening in the church, what the pastor is doing, what the ministers in the church are doing, what the person on the praise and worship team is doing, you know, what the members are doing. You can talk about all that all you want to. My question is, what are you doing to add to the benefit?
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So say for instance, let's just say, even if it is there's something that you don't like, let's just say, for argument's sake, you know what? I don't like the fact the pastor got a jet. I don't like it. Okay, you don't like it. You know what? That's your right not to like it. You didn't. There's no sin there. As long as you're not jealous, envious, as long as you don't hate them for it, you really didn't cause a sin. There's no sin there. You're just stating what you don't like. Fine. My question is this. Now, what are you doing for the ministry? And I ain't talking about that church alone in itself. The way I should phrase that question is, what are you doing for God, man? What are you doing for God? And that's the same thing. Those are the things I had to tell myself. Okay, Rock, if you don't want to participate in the church that does its annual pagan holiday alternatives, or even going full-fledged all into Christmas with the Santa Claus and the reindeer and got church members dressed up like elves, if you don't want to participate in that, the question is, Rock, what are you going to do for the kingdom? And that's how I keep myself grounded and not be thinking about what certain churches are doing. I just say, hey, look, that's their business and that's between them and God. I ain't got nothing to do with that. I've stated my case. Think about me what you want. I pray to God that you don't hate me for this. for your spirit purpose, I pray to God that you don't hate me for this. Because I don't hate you, but as a man, I'm not doing it. If I don't have Santa Claus in my house, what makes you think I'm gonna come to the house of God and act like I don't see Santa Claus? You need to stop it. We're not going to do this. So, with that being said, I believe this is an action thing. And I'm going to end this, E, because I ain't going to take up too much more. How much more of your time do you got, E? How much more time you got?
I got about 5 minutes.
All right, we got 5 minutes. At the end of the day, E, well, not the end of the day, what I really wanted to talk about, and we said a lot of things in reference to it. I want to talk about the atmosphere, man. Being in the right atmosphere. let me share this with you all, and I'm gonna let you take us out, E. I was listening to a sermon by T.D. Jakes, and it brought me to tears, man. It wasn't a full sermon. It was just it wasn't a full sermon that brought me to tears, but there was a snippet within the sermon. He was saying, like, T.D. Jakes is an aficionado of banana pudding, if you will, and I guess he makes it. And his son was, made a banana pudding. And his son wanted, T.D. Jakes to taste it. Like, hey, look, taste my banana pudding. Check it out. See what I did. And T.D. was like, man, he was like surprised that his son made a banana pudding. He said that his son used to be around when he was making banana pudding, but he said, I never knew that my son was paying attention. He said he never gave any inclination, never asked no questions, never inquired in any kind of manner, never sat in the chair and looked attentive to say, as if he was paying attention. TD just figured that he was around. But TD said he had a revelation that he said, and this was the part that brought me to tears. He said there's a blessing in just being in the atmosphere. Being around something special, of something that's going on, or being in the atmosphere or the presence of even of certain people, there's a blessing in that. And I think, Eric, we're going to probably have to do a part 2 on this, man, because I know you got some meat and some serious info when it comes to that. Because I know for my life, I've been blessed tremendously being around certain people and being in certain atmospheres where I've learned and I've received a lot. What are your thoughts on that, man?
Man, that's perfect, because we believe everything is transferable. That's what happens when you're in an atmosphere that's conducive for learning, conducive for God-inspiring moments, conducive for revelation to flow. We believe this is the thing that we're trying to create with the SpeakRoc platform. I know you're not here with us, but by via of social media and those kind of things, we're trying to create an atmosphere, even in your home, even in your car, even in your wherever you are when you're listening to this podcast, creating an atmosphere where you can receive or be imparted into. And we think that is extreme. Passed a long time ago is I want my life to be an avenue or a door for my family, so they can be able to hear God's environment in this home and just to live my life in the way I God, that would create an environment for them to hear God for themselves. And this is the thing we try to do with this, with the SpeakRoc Nation, is we try to create an environment. We're trying to get something that can get off of us, that we believe is on us, that can get on you, the people, the listeners, the followers, that we didn't even know we even had on us, that they can catch it, that we didn't even know you were listening to that. We thought we were pushing out a certain thing, but you heard something that we didn't even know we said, and your life was better of it. So atmosphere is very important to progression of the things that God will want you to do.
Absolutely, man. Dude, I believe that in and of itself, being in the right atmosphere is something that we truly, we underestimate. I don't think we understand a lot of times the value in that. But we gonna hit on that at the next time we meet up and we talk, and we want to get more in depth with that so the family can be blessed. So look, hey man, man, today was a great time, man. We did some reflection, and I think we gave a lot of clarity. So look, it was fun today, man. Hey, but check it out. Get connected to my social media page, y'all. Hey, SpeakRoc, SPEAKROC, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and catch other episodes on YouTube. So hey, look, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Hey, E, man, this was fun, dude.
Man, this is a hallmark. What they need to do is they need to be able to. This is one they need to rewind over and over and over and over, because there was a lot of stuff said because we were just in a flow. And once we get in a flow, that's almost more because that's just straight revelation. We was in a flow just in straight revelation. That's even almost more important than just staying on one topic. When you stay on one topic, you're just kind of talking about that certain thing. Right. But when you're in a flow, when you're in the river, and that thing getting up to you, and thing getting up to you, to waist deep, and we're all the way in, man, they got some stuff. They got some stuff today, man. This is one they need. This is one they need to put in the archive.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, but look, we gonna let everybody go. Hey, E, next week, brother.
Hey, we're gonna do it next week, sir.
Yes, sir. Hey, from my brother E and your brother SpeakRoc, and we out of here. Peace.
Be out. Peace.